Okay, Recon Jeeper here. I'm behind Recon 1 looking at my Rancho Rear diff cover. I run the Rancho Rock Glider. This is probably my fourth or fifth one. And some would say, well, why are you using this then? Well, what happens with this is it takes a lot of shots under here. There's a U-bolt, you can see it, that goes right around behind the flange. But what happens is it puts a lot of pressure on these four fingers that the bolts go through the rock glider and then through the housing or through the diff cover and into the housing. They're a 5/16 18 threaded bolt. So the problem is they puts too much pressure on them. The fingers bend and then the cover gets loose, even though I'm running a lube locker gasket. And from my last adventure, I lost some 80/90. So what I want to do is I want to take some of these bolts out one at a time if I can, run a 5/16 tap through them, clean them out, put some red Loctite and retorque them. I believe the spec on them is like 28 to 30 foot-pounds. I looked at perhaps a metal cloak one, a different one that doesn't bolt the same way that the Rancho does. But I have a Synergy axle truss welded around here, and a lot of them have like a piece that goes through here on each side with a U-bolt, and now the truss is in the way. So for now, in case I can get out in the near future, I just want to do a little bit of maintenance and clean these threads out and get some Loctite onto the new bolts and get them torqued up and put a stop to the leak. So it's a temporary fix, but it needs to be done. Okay, you can see I've got the rock glider just hanging down. I've taken some brake cleaner, clean out these holes. So there's one bolt right there that's holding the bottom, and then all the top bolts are in. And then I got my 5/16 18 bottoming tap here. So basically I'm just cleaning these threads out good. Then I'll put new bolts in and use red Loctite and get it all torqued up and put it back together. Hopefully buy some time before I figure out a better way. So some would say, well, why are you running this rock glider anyway? I don't run it in the front. But you might recall that over on the underneath, I had punctured this axle housing, and my buddy Nate welded a patch on the bottom, and I just want to give it that extra 1/4-inch steel of protection. There, you can see it right there. Patch is good, beautiful weld, holding nice. So then I run that 1/4-inch steel rock glider right across the bottom, and it gives me some extra protection. Okay, all the bolts, the bottom four 5/16 18 threaded bolt holes in the axle housing have been tapped and cleaned out nice. Brand new 1.5 inch. I put 1.5 inch bolts in there because the axle housing is actually threaded very, very deep into the housing, all of 1 inch. And then if you take into consideration the thickness of the cover, then another 1/4-inch thickness for those four fingers for the rock glider, you have no problem using 1.5 inch length bolts. So I'm going to take the fill plug out and the full mark little plug out and add some 80/90 because I know I lost some. And this should buy me some time, and we should be back in the go position here. All right, got the hand pump out. Bought a couple of these at Harbor Freight for $6 or $7. One for transmission fluid, the ATF plus 4, and one for my my gear oil. I'm running the Mopar 80/90. So basically just got the fill plug opened up, and then there's the high mark. See the smaller plug right there? So basically I'll pump that in until it starts oozing out there, and we'll cap it back up.